Hey everybody, we are live. Welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. I'm your host for this evening, Steve, aka Negative Ned. Frank is away on business again, so we'll do our best to hold the fort down while he's out. This is the show we talk about Boston sports. We talk about the Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, and the Red Sox. Get you all caught up to speed on the goings on uh, for the local teams, and give you a chance to throw your 2 cents in too if you want to join the show. Give me half a second. I'm going to post a link for everybody. We have a crap ton to talk about today with the Red Sox and their opening week. Um, we have Bruins are on a winning streak, and the Celtics are making history. So it's been a busy week. Uh, we're gonna start with the Bruins. We're gonna start with the Bruins winning streak. They've won four in a row heading into tonight. They had a good week last week. They went 3-0. Listen, surprisingly well. I have to say, I'm surprised at these wins that they picked up. Uh, they played Minnesota first at home. Uh, Good team. You know, Minnesota's a good team. They're going to be a playoff team. Uh, and they're a team that I think they gave the Bruins trouble the last time they played. If my memory serves correct. They jump out to a 2-0 lead in the first period on a surprise goal from Andrew Peak. He walked into top of the circle, fired a wrist shot over the blocker, far post side. Really nice shot. Give the Bruins a 1-0 lead. And then around the 14-minute mark, Pavel Zacha scored to give him a 2-0 lead. He was tremendous in the month of March. He's definitely on a hot streak. And at the end of this, I'll have his numbers for the month. He ended up being third star for the month of November across the NHL. So it's really good to see him picking up the scoring slack. Midway through the second period, they made it 3-0 on a goal by Victor Arvidsson, but they gave it up about 4 minutes later. So they're up 3-1, and then the Bruins scored about 4 minutes into the third. They go up 4-1, and anybody that knows me knows that typically I say no 3-goal lead is safe with the Bruins. For some reason, they have difficulty holding on to 3-0 and 4-1, 5-2, whatever that number is. 3-0 leads just don't suit them usually. And they did give me a bit of a scare. Minnesota scored on the power play around the 8-minute mark, and then they scored again to close the gap to 4-3. So a little bit of heart palpitations there for me with them closing the gap there. But Zacha scored his second goal with about 3 minutes left to go to give him a 5-3 lead. So I get a little cushion there, and then Elias Lindholm capped it off, gets the empty netter with 34 seconds left, close out the scoring. So listen, good win. It's good to see them scoring goals. It's extremely weird that earlier in the year they were scoring goals in bunches. They were probably in the top 6-ish in scoring, and then they hit a little bit of a slump over especially after the Olympic break. I think they hit kind of a snag there. And now over the last 4 or 5 games, they're averaging they're getting 6 here and 4 there and whatever. So the scoring is back. Really a surprise, pleasant surprise to see them getting these goals. Jeremy Swayman was good again. 34 saves on 37 shots. Again, he looks like he did a couple of years ago. He's been very sharp, and I'll have more numbers on him later on after we recap the rest of the games. I have some numbers for him. Next game they were at Columbus. They win 4-3 in the shootout. This game, by far, is their best game of the year. They fell behind 3-0 in the first period. They were horrible. Bad defense, no legs, just bad passing. They just looked like off bad. And I don't know what they gave up a goal on the 6-minute mark, and then Columbus scored again a minute and a half later. They go up 2-0. And then to add insult to injury, at the end of the first period, old friend Charlie Coyle scored on the power play with 28 seconds left to put them up 3-0. And I guess he's been on a little bit of a heater over the last couple of weeks, or probably ever since Rick Bowness took over as coach. Excuse me. He's been kind of on fire. So he scores on the power play there. And no, I don't want him back. Nobody start with that. They don't need him. But it always feels like as soon as they get rid of somebody, the guy comes back and kind of haunts them. It's comical. So, listen, it's 3-0, and they look like they have no life. With them being flat, Tanner Janot dropped the gloves with Eric Goodbranson in the first of two heavyweight battles. That was a good bout. I would give the edge to Tanner Janot. He held his own in that battle. And then 6 seconds later, Mark Kastler dropped the gloves with Matthew Oliver, with them guys going at it. Another good bout. I don't see him on here yet, but my buddy Danny that likes to chime in on here. Me and him are kind of going back and forth, and I was being a bit sarcastic with him, saying, "Yeah, we're going to win the fights, but we're going to lose the game." Typical Bruins. Win the fisticuffs, dead game. In the end, I ended up being wrong. They played much better over the last two periods, and they outshot Columbus 24-10 in those two periods. There was no scoring in the second, but the Bruins did carry more of the play. They did look a lot better. Their skating was better. They were getting more chances. So in the third period, Charlie McAvoy scored to make it 3-1. And about 2 minutes later, Zacha scored his 27th on the power play to make it 3-2. So they're within striking distance. And then Zacha scored again on the power play at the end of regulation with 11 seconds left to tie it at 3 and force the overtime. It actually feels good to be on the opposite end of one of those games because, as you guys know me, over the course of the 3 years we've been on, 3+ years we've been on, I've been harping like hell on the Bruins giving up goals in the last minute of a period. They had not for a long time, including some this year, not been able to stop that bleeding. And, very rare that the Bruins get them at the end of the period. And going back to that, where they gave up the power play goal to Charlie Coyle with 28 seconds left, case in point, another goal given up in the last minute of a period. That really does stick in my craw. And when it's a power play like that, there's nothing you can do. But the other times that they give up those goals just drives me nuts. So, like I said, it's nice to see them. Nice to see the shoe on the other foot. So no scoring in the overtime. After Colorado missed their first shot of the overtime, Fraser Minton came down and scored. Nice goal. He's, I'm really high on him. I like him a lot, as most people do. Fleecing Toronto to get him. Really, really good. He's been great for them. After a few more misses by both teams, Charlie Coyle scored to tie it. Again, Charlie Coyle in the shootout ties it up. So Victor Arvidsson had a chance to win it, and he scored to give the Bruins the win. Like I said, by far their best win of the year. Good comeback win, much needed. As mentioned last week, every game now feels like a playoff game where they're fighting for points and they're fighting to stay in the spot that they're in, being in the playoffs. They're in 7th place. Jeremy Swayman, again, 25 saves on 28 shots. He gets his 30th win of the year. He was sharp again. I want to hang on to these. I put the stats here, but I don't want them there. Oh, I have them down here. Let me see this. Yeah, here it is. Here, wait. Let me get rid of that. All right, and then Thursday night they played against Dallas, who's in 2nd place in the Western Conference. Another wagon of a team coming in here, and the Bruins for a little bit weren't beating good teams. They were losing to the good teams for a little bit there, but you get a win against Columbus, who's been very good since Rick Bowness took over. Their record is like, I don't know, 19-6-3 or some weird number, like really good. You got Minnesota, who's a playoff team. You got Dallas coming in here, 2nd in the Western Conference. And earlier in the year, the Bruins did beat Colorado twice, who's the best team in the league. So, they get Bruins get the 6-3 win against Dallas. They go up 2-0. First on goals by Houston Dinoff. Gets his 15th of the year. He's been a pleasant surprise too. Victor Arvidsson scored again. He ended up getting a hat trick. We'll have more on him in a little bit. But Dallas tied it in the 2nd period on goals by Jamie Benn and Matt Duchene. Those two guys have been Bruins killers over the years. Even though they only have probably like 15 goals each this year, it seems like every time they play the Bruins, they pot one. So it's tied at 2. Going to the 3rd period, Henry Yokoharu scored his first goal as a Bruin. Nice shot from in the slot. Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, I boo-booed this. Elias Lindholm scored 13 seconds into the 3rd period on the power play. He's been piling up some points too here and there. So hopefully he can start coming around because they're gonna need more from him. He's been kind of invisible since the Olympic break. So he scored, put the Bruins up 3-2. Yokoharu scored to make it 4-2, and then Arvidsson got an empty netter with their goalie pulled to make it 5-2 with probably about 3 or 4 minutes left. And then Dallas scored with a minute left to make it 5-3. So that 5th goal comes in handy. And then Arvidsson scores another empty netter with 13 seconds left for the hat trick. It's his 24th goal of the year. He's got 5 career hat tricks now. Another pleasant surprise. He's been better than I thought he would be. 24 goals is good. But again, like I said last week or the week before, like not enough for the Bruins to go cuckoo and give him like a 4-year deal and like, $4, $5, $6 million a year. He's 32. You don't have to do that. Free up that cap space, use it somewhere else. You don't got to fall in love with these guys. I hate when they do that. As for tonight's game, the Bruins are playing in Florida, and it was 2-1 Florida at the end of the first. What I saw. Thanks for that, Danny. I saw that. Oh, it's in the 2nd now. Florida has 9 guys, 9 of their regular guys out of the lineup, including Brad Marchand, who's got a groin injury. And you fall behind 2-0 to them, and that weasel freaking Sam Bennett scored the first goal. Bastard. They cannot contain that guy. I don't get it. But tonight's game will be a tough game. All the games they play in Florida have been tough. They have Tampa Bay next on Saturday. That game, I think, is in the afternoon, 5 o'clock maybe. Let me look. Yeah, that's a 5 o'clock game. And then they play at Philadelphia on Sunday at 3:30, and then they have at Carolina on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So they have a brutal stretch coming up on this 4-game road trip. It's not going to be pretty. So brace yourself for a little bit of a stumble, I think, through this stretch. Philadelphia's been playing well. They're in the playoff hunt. I think I mentioned last week there's a bunch of teams that are like tied for like the 8th spot or 9th spot. Like there's 3 points, 2 to 3 points separating like 6 teams. Columbus has lost 4 in a row, so they're in 8th place currently with 88 points. The Bruins now have 94 points. They bought themselves a little bit of a cushion there. Excuse me. The other teams in the mix, Ottawa, Detroit, Philly, and even the Capitals have found their way in the mix. So you got 5 teams fighting for basically the last spot if the Bruins can hang on to where they are. So, fingers crossed they can get, at least 1 or 2 wins somehow on this trip. Carolina has been a bad place for them to play. Another team that has their number. The Bruins have only beaten them like once or twice over the last few years. So it hasn't been great going down there. That's going to be a problem. I think the Bruins did beat Philly the last time, but they're playing better. They're playing hard for Rick Tocchet. And I should mention now that old friend Bruce Cassidy got fired by Vegas with 8 or 9 games left. They were in a tailspin. They had lost like 6 of 7 or 7 of 8. They were going in the wrong direction. They made a change there. That's unfortunate. I like Bruce Cassidy. I think it was dumb by the Bruins to get rid of him. As everybody knows, last year when they won the Cup, I was happy for him. I actually bought a Vegas Stanley Cup hat to show my support for him. So best wishes for him going forward. But the Bruins last stretch before the playoffs start on April 18th or 19th. So a couple more weeks. The Bruins have 8 or 9 games left. Brutal stretch. They're playing Tampa twice. They're playing Florida. They're playing Columbus again. I think they're playing New Jersey. They got their work cut out for them if they're going to hang on to that 7th spot. Some numbers I want to touch on for the Bruins for the month of March. They played 16 games in 31 days. They went 10-3-3. Really good for them. I'm surprised that they went that far. Jeremy Swayman in his last 11 games, 8-3 record, .925 save percentage, and I thought I heard something before the game started that he's got the 2nd or 3rd highest save percentage since January. So we're getting the most of the $8 million version of him, and not the $8 version we got last year. So good for him and good for the Bruins, because without that, they wouldn't be in the playoffs if they weren't getting good goaltending from him. So kudos to him. He's turned it around. He's done good. Pavel Zacha, like I said, he was 3rd star for the month of March. He finished the month with 13 goals, 9 assists, 22 points in 16 games. He's really come on. He's on a hot streak, and hopefully he can continue that. And I want to put this out there. Let's see. Bargain Basement Bruins are doing okay, Bobby. Listen, I'm with you. I'm all over them for being cheap and being dumb. Their salary cap issues that they have is because they sign the wrong guys to the wrong money and the wrong contracts. Tanner Jeannot, making I don't know, $3 million a year or $4 million a year or $3 million for 5 years, whatever he's getting. It's way too much. And again, as I mentioned earlier, Arvidsson makes $4 million. Like, I don't want to see a deal with him for another 4 years and $4 million when he's 32 years old now. No good. And I know that in Providence, they're in first place. They've been rattling off wins left and right down there, and they have a bunch of those bargain basement guys. They have a bunch of guys signed with make $875,000 or $925,000. The whole team's littered with those guys. So, Bobby, I'm with you. I agree that some of those guys will probably wind up here next year, but we'll see. You have to give Marco Sturm some credit. He's really gotten the most out of what he's been given. So kudos to them. And I want to make mention now, Danny, if you're still watching, the seventh player award for the Bruins, I believe, is given on the last home game of the year. So this coming week, we will do a poll question for who should get the seventh player award. I'm going to give you my vote right now, and he will be on the list. Fraser Minton, he's my pick. We'll put Pavel Zacha in there because he's been on a heater, and we'll put maybe a couple more guys in there. And also, as usual, if you're not happy with those choices, you can always write in the comments who you think should get it. But I want to put that out there now that we're going to have that for a poll question this upcoming week, and we'll carry it through until the seventh player award is given at the end of the season. And with that, we will switch gears now. We're going to switch gears from the Bruins to the Celtics. The Celtics make history. They made history yesterday. We will get to that in a minute, but they won 3 out of 4 games this past week. Let me find my notes here. Hang tight 1 second. So they played Atlanta last week. They won 109-102. The Hawks had been winning. They had won 14 out of 15 up to that point when the Celtics beat them in that game. They traded one of their best players, Trae Young. I don't remember who they got back, but ever since they traded him away, they've gotten better. Go figure. And so maybe it's a case of him just not fitting the system or the coaching or whatever you want to call it there. But really good for the Celtics to win that game, considering they did not have Jaylen Brown for that contest. They fell behind 60-55 in the first half. They outscored Atlanta by 10 in the third. They got the lead and went up by 11 with about 6 minutes left. Jason Tatum hit a big three as part of that. And he got fouled. He got fouled late in the game while shooting a three, and he got 3 free throws. And, with that, it pretty much sealed the deal for them. Peyton Pritchard, 36 points, 6 of 11 from 3. He's weird to figure out. One game, 36. He had another game a couple of weeks ago. He had 0. And another one we had like 6. I don't understand that. I mean, he's usually pretty consistent. He's been pretty consistent all year long, but excuse me, he I don't know, he gets hot, gets cold, gets hot, gets cold. He was hot in this game. Jason Tatum, another double-double, 26 points, 12 rebounds. He's been good since he came back. I mean, obviously the first few games shake the rust off, but he's been getting better as we're going along. Luka Gaza, 11 points, Hauser and White, 10 points each. So a little bit of balanced scoring at the end there from a bunch of those guys. They shot 14 of 35 from 3, 40%. That's pretty good. I can't squawk at that. 19 of 23 from the free throw line. That's a key too with Tatum coming back in. He drives to the basket a lot, gets a lot of free throws. That's definitely going to help the Celtics going down the stretch, because if you remember over the last 2 or 3 weeks when the Celtics played San Antonio, and they had that one game where San Antonio had 20 free throws and the Celtics had 4, and Jaylen Brown was kind of squawking. And then again, they played OKC and they had the same issue where their guys were kind of like flopping a little bit, getting these calls, and Jaylen Brown again voices displeasure with that. So this is a big plus for the Celtics to have Jason Tatum back in the lineup. So him and Brown are both driving the lane more. They're getting more free throws, which will definitely help them as they head into the playoffs. And it's really good to see what they've been doing. They out-rebounded the Hawks 52-35. Again, the offensive rebounding has been better since they traded for Vukovic. Even though he's been out with a broken finger, they've still been leading on the offensive glass. They out-rebounded them 13-10. I've noticed a big difference in Cada and Gaza. I think both those guys have been more aggressive, if you will, fighting for position, fighting for those loose balls, and just doing a better job overall. Where earlier in the year, it just felt like they were getting mismatched a lot, and their positioning was off, and they were getting out rebounded offensively bad. It was really bad earlier in the year. They've corrected that over the last few weeks since that trade. So I can't wait to see when that guy comes back, Vukovic, because he can be a double-double guy, and he can do it coming off the bench. He doesn't have to start. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. Again, the Celtics, they're in the same boat. They're getting down to the nitty-gritty. They have, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 games left, not many games left for them. I want to say maybe 8 or 9 games left. Next game, they play at Charlotte. They win 114-99. No Jaylen Brown and no Derek White. The reason that they gave for Jaylen Brown being out was Achilles, some kind of Achilles management. That whenever I hear that scares me because he hasn't had an Achilles tear yet, and I don't want to see it. So I don't know why they would put that out there. I don't know if they have to, like the NFL has to, where they have to reveal like what the injury report and stuff. But that's not something I would make public if I didn't have to. For sure, is that he's dealing with an Achilles issue. So not good, not what I want. They go up 63-49 at the half. The game was never really in doubt after that. Jason Tatum, 30 minutes, 32 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, carrying the load. So it's his first 30-point game since he came back. And only in 30 minutes, that's great too. That's great to see. Peyton Pritchard, 28 points. Again, hot. Can't figure it out. Neemias Queta, 17 points, 8 rebounds. Good game for him. And Baylor Scheinman, 14 points off the bench. I'll tell you, he's another guy. He's come a long way since the beginning of the season. Excuse me. If I had to pick a guy, if there was the Bruins have the 7th Player Award surprise guy. If I had one for the Celtics, it would be him. It would be Scheinman, because not just because of the scoring, but he plays good defense too. He hustles, and he's really done a good job. So he looks way better. I mean, like I said earlier, in training camp or whatever, exhibition season, he was horrible. He was playing and he was getting, 2 for 13 from 3, 0 for 7, whatever. He was terrible. But watching him now, even with a broken thumb, he's been playing with a broken thumb now for I don't know how many weeks, and he's still shooting. It's his shooting hand. I don't know how he's shooting with a broken thumb, but he's making it work. And his shooting and his touch, much better. Nice to see where he's come from. Let's see, for the game, Celtics 14 of 34 from three, 41%. So, they're right around that 34, 35, 38 threes a game. That's not bad. When they start getting into like 44, 50, that's a bad sign. So I kind of like that they've taken a few less threes this year, and they're doing a pretty good job of making them. Minnesota was 12 of 43 from three. They were only 28%. So not Minnesota, Charlotte, I'm sorry. 12 of 43 for 28%. Not good. So, another good win. Charlotte, they're another team I think that's been coming on in the second half. I don't remember what their record is now. I had it the last time they played, but they've been tough to deal with for a little bit. Let's see. They go back to Atlanta. They play them again. They lose 112 to 102. It was tied at the half, 54 to 54. But then in the second half, mostly in the third quarter, just sloppy, a lot of bad turnovers, bad shots. Their game just it looked like a game that we've talked about over the last few years, where they just it kind of looked like playground basketball. Not getting good shots, just chucking it up there. Even though the threes weren't as many as I would have thought, and they weren't as bad from there, just the rest of the game. I mean, they couldn't get out of their own way. They were giving up offensive rebounds too. So in this game, they, Atlanta had 6 guys in double figures. Jaylen Brown comes back, 29 points, 8 of 14 from the free throw line. That's a disturbing number for me. I mentioned this before earlier in the year. He's missing free throws. I don't like that, late in the game when it's close, he gets to the line, he hits 1 out of 2. He's really got to make a concerted effort to make more of these shots. He needs to be 80%, not 57 or 60 or whatever it is. You get in the line 14 times, you get 14 shots. You can't complain about not getting the shots. You're getting them now. Now you got to make them. You got to be 12 of 14, 11 of 14 minimum. That's only 73%. You got to be 80% or above. You got to make these. You got to be 8 of 10, 10 of 12, 12 of 14. You got to make these buckets. You can't give points away like that. So now I know he's probably tired, from carrying the load all year. But he had a couple games off. You got to find a way to make these free throws. 10 rebounds, 9 assists, almost a triple-double. There was no Jason Tatum in that game for Achilles maintenance. That I understand. They want to be cautious with him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him sit out again at least 1 or 2 more games before the end of the year. And also no Neemias Queta. He was also given like a rest day, maintenance day, whatever you want to call it. Peyton Pritchard, 16 points. Luka Gaza, another 20-point game coming through. He's been really good lately. He's been again more aggressive. Finding his niche. Settling into his role. He's done a good job. He's done a much better job. If I had to grade him in the first half, he was kind of like a D or a C minus. Now I'd probably give him like B minus, B ish. He's been a lot better. Celtics 14 of 37 from three, 38%. That's not horrible. I'm not sure what exactly the league average is, but I bet you that would be in the top part of it. So the threes didn't really hurt him. It wasn't that. It was just the sloppiness in the third quarter they couldn't overcome. Now let's get to last night's game in Miami. They won 147 to 129. And honestly, it shouldn't have even been that close. I mean, there was a period where they were smoking the crap out of them. Uh, they scored 53 points in the first quarter. Uh, I think that I saw it's the most by a Celtics team in the first quarter since the 1970s. And they scored 80 points in the first half for the fifth time this season. So they're up 80 to 57 at the half. They're up by 23 points. I figured this game would probably be a cakewalk, and it was not, believe it or not. But they started out the game 7 of 8 from three. There was a stretch where they were 14 of 19 from three over the course of a part of the first half. I mean, that's just unconscious. Sam Hauser, I think, was 5 for 5 or something at some point during that stretch. They missed their last 5 threes of the half. They shot 14 of 24 from three in the first half, 58%. That's ridiculous. Jaylen Brown had 24 points in the first half. Sam Hauser had 17. He was 5 for 5 from three in the first half. And again, as I mentioned, it's the fifth game this season where they had 80 in the first half. I mean, you figure 80 in the first half. And sometimes, depending upon how the game goes and how the other team plays defense, I've seen where they go get 80 in the first half and like 40 in the second half, lose or whatever. But they were just unconscious. In the third quarter, Miami was 11 of 15 from three. And Tatum threw up a bad brick with about 30 seconds left. These guys chipped the lead down from 27. The lead was 27 to 10. They got it down to 10 at the end of the third quarter, and they outscored the Celtics 45 to 32 in the third. That had me in a little bit of a panic mode. I will say this, though. There was a couple of times where they were up by 27 or 23 or whatever, and it got down to like 19 or 18. And Joe Mazzulla called some timeouts. And I want to acknowledge that because we've been killing him for the last 3 years for waiting until it gets down to like 8 and then calling a timeout. Like, it's too late then. The other team has way too much momentum. So for him to do that now when it's like 18, okay, guys, regroup. Don't let them get within 10, I know they did in the third quarter, close it up, but there was some stretches before that where they were making a run, and he used some timeouts effectively. I thought, they would get the timeout, then they'd go back up by like 22 or 23. Then they'd get it up to 26 again and get it back down to 19, 18, and call another timeout. So I like that he does that. I hate when he does not do that. I hate when they're up by 20. And the other team gets it down to like 6. Then he calls a timeout. I'm like, dude, they just went on like a 14-2 run, or 14-0 run. Like, no, will you please call a timeout? Stop the bleeding. You got to do something. You just can't keep letting them try to figure it out and do their own thing because it isn't working. Davion Mitchell for the Heat pulled a Peyton Pritchard by hitting a 3 at the buzzer at the end of the third quarter. And they got the lead within 9, but the Heat, they had a couple of bad turnovers. And then Tatum got fouled, had 2 free throws. Then he hit a 3 after that. So he had 2 free throws, he hit a 3, and put him back up by 16 with 9 minutes left. And then later on after that, Jaylen Brown missed 2 free throws. So again, the free throws are a bugaboo for me. He needs to clean that up. Luckily, in a game like this, we're up by 20 or whatever it is, it doesn't hurt you. But in the playoffs, when it gets to be crunch time, and you're either behind or the lead is only like 4 or 3 or something, you got to make them. And he always seems to miss them in the second half, not as much in the first half. Again, we're not pile on Jaylen Brown, believe me, because I think he should be the MVP. I'll get to that later. Jaylen Brown finished with 43 points. Phenomenal what he's been doing this year. Jason Tatum had a triple-double, 25 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists. his rebounding is underrated. I think he gets a lot of boards. Sam Hauser finished with 23. Quater finished with 16 points and 11 rebounds. Listen, there was an offensive rebound he fought for against Tyler Hero, and they both went to the floor, and I think he got fouled on the play. And that's what I mean about fighting for the ball. He was getting physical and fighting hard on both ends of the floor. So kudos to him. And anybody that remembers, at the very beginning of the year, I wanted them to give him a shot at being the starter with Porzingis and Horford being out. I think that because him and Gaza didn't really mesh earlier on, it wasn't really until they got Vucevic that he really started playing a little bit better. He had moments, but he's been more consistent over the last, month and a half. So I'm encouraged. I like him a lot. I hope that they can keep him around because he's a good young player. Let's see. As a team, the Celtics shot 56 of 96 from the floor, 58% total, and they were 21 of 44 from three for 48%. So it tailed off a little bit in the second half, but 48%, 50%, whatever, that's just insanity. You can't stop that. And Miami, I forgot to pull up their numbers, but they were doing the same thing. They were making a lot of threes too. The whole game just became almost like a three-point shooting contest, which I don't like. It gets boring. These guys just go down and they chuck it up, and they go down the other end and they do the same thing over and over again. I think the Celtics are better. Not that Miami's horrible at it, but I think the Celtics are better at moving the ball around and finding the open guys. There was numerous passes by the Celtics to get the guys the open looks from inside three and make some nice baskets. So everything doesn't have to be a three. Case in point, I mean? They can score other ways. But just don't, the live by the three, die by the three thing. We've already seen that where when they don't go in and everybody's cold, it's horrible. That's why I don't like it the way it is, the way the NBA is now. And it's not just the Celtics. It's every team, 12 of 43, 28%. 11 of 43, 22%, whatever, like that. Those numbers are horrible. I don't care for that, but until they figure out a way to change it, we're stuck with it. I'm just glad that they're a little better at the selection. I mean, they're still doing the whole stupid, rush it up there, guy gets it, just jacks it up, or they get an offensive rebound and they catch and shoot. Like, they still do a little bit of that, but it isn't as bad as it's been over the last few years. So I hope that they're learning lessons, and it looks like they are. I mean, they should be. Listen, they're still second in the Eastern Conference. They actually have more than 50 wins. They got 51 now, I think, after yesterday. And it's the first time. Do I have the note here or no? It's their first. They've got 50 wins for 5 straight seasons for the first time since the Larry Bird era. So, I had them with no Tatum getting 45 to 48 wins at the beginning of the year. They've eclipsed that. Good for them. Kudos to them. Kudos to Jaylen Brown. He's really stepped up and done a good job. I was on Frank's show earlier, and they were talking about how Luka Doncic is like number 2 in the 2 or 3 in the MVP race. And my stance hasn't changed. I think that the problem with the league is, and all the leagues do it, they reward the offensive players, and they don't look at who actually means the most to their team. If you took Jaylen Brown off the Celtics too at the same time as Jason Tatum this year, the Celtics would be lucky to get 15 to 20 wins. So he's been extremely valuable. Luka, he just shoots and scores 33 a game, and barely plays any defense. And so for me, you know, if you took him off the Lakers and they still had LeBron, they would still be a playoff team. So, you know, his value, he has value, but he's not the most valuable, right? Because that team won't die without him. Even Jokic, um, for Denver, as good as he is and averages a triple double a game, they went 10-6 without him. So they didn't croak. And not to say he's not most valuable. And I watched him play, and man, for a guy that's 7 feet tall, the way he plays and passes and getting an average in a triple double a game, that's absolute insanity for a guy his size. So I would never like discount him and say he's not in the race. You have Victor Wemby from San Antonio. Again, when he played, and I got to see him play the Celtics a few weeks ago, last week, whatever. That guy's just amazing. He's unreal. Again, no argument. If he won it, I couldn't argue with it. You know what I mean? And of course, SGA, Shea Hilgis-Alexander from Oklahoma City Thunder is probably going to get it again. I think he's leading the league in scoring. And again, that's typically how it goes. And I don't know what his defensive numbers are. I'm sure he plays some level of defense. But I just remember when they played the Celtics, they couldn't stop him. You know, his shooting was like, I don't know, 10 of 14 or 11 of 15 or whatever from the floor. And he got 30-something points. And, like, he always finds the open space. And so I don't know if you took him off that team where they would be. But, again, my argument is for Jaylen Brown to get it. I think that he's had a tremendous year considering what they've had to go through without Jason Tatum. And so that's my probably my second and probably not my last rant on him for MVP. Because when the award finally gets announced and we figure out where he is, I think he's fifth now. But when we figure out where he is at the end of the year, we'll discuss it again. Actually, we'll maybe near the end of the season, we'll put it as a poll question to see what everybody thinks. And we'll make some noise there. All right, let's move on to the Red Sox before I run out of time. I have a lot to talk about with them. This is not what I expected. Last place Red Sox. I don't know what the hell's going on over at Yawkey Way, but you guys better straighten it out quick, or it's going to be ugly for you, real bad. You guys better get right soon, or you're screwed. I can't believe how badly they've played this past week. It didn't start out that way. Opening day, they win 3-0. You got your ace on the mound, Garrett Crochet, gives you a great start. 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 8 Ks. Roman Anthony, 3 for 4 with a walk. Jaron Duran and Ceddanne Rafaela, 2 hits each and an RBI each. Solid win. Against, again, old friend Terry Francona, who's managing the Reds now. I want to say they made the playoffs last year. I forget. But he's a good manager, and so you got your hands full anytime you're going against him. But they kick off the season the right way. Everybody's all happy. We're all excited. And then after that, right down the toilet. Saturday, they lost 6-5 in 11 innings. Sonny Gray was not sharp. He 4 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 runs, 5 strikeouts, 80 pitches. I want to say he gave up a home run. So not a good outing for him. Hopefully that's not what we're going to get all year long. It's going to be miserable around here. But the Red Sox, they claw their way back. They fight back. They tie it up in the top of the ninth. William Abreu hits the home run to tie it at 5. But then Justin Slayton comes in and gives up the winning run in the 11th inning. So it's unfortunate that they couldn't get the W. Then Sunday, they lost 3-2. But it wasn't Connolly Early's fault. That poor kid pitched his rear end off. 5 1/3 innings, no runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 96 pitches. I mean, talk about guts. Um, and they let him down. William Abreu hit another 2-run home run. But then, Greg Wiesick came in, walked the first guy he faced. So he got runners on first and second. Then he gives up the 3-run homer, a 440-foot blast to Eugenio Suarez. That makes me think the Red Sox signed the wrong Suarez. Listen, when they were looking for a right-handed bat, they could have got this guy. I want to say he only signed for like 1 year and $15 million. You couldn't do that. I think he plays third. You couldn't do that. 30-something home runs. And, maybe because his defense isn't that great. You already had a guy that his defense wasn't that great. Rafael Devers. Unless that guy made 40 errors last year, there was no reason not to sign him cheap for 1 year. So that's unfortunate. That's terrible. The Red Sox tried to come back, but they had a base running blunder again. That issue from the last few years hasn't gone away. Jarren Duran walked, but then he got picked off first. It's like, dude, it's late in the game. You can't get picked off. What the frick are you doing? Well, how are you sleepwalking over there? I like Jarren Duran. I didn't want them to really trade him unless it was for Joe, the pitcher from Minnesota we were talking about all winter long. I can't think of his name now. Right? So, listen, he's in the lineup. He needs to be here. He's speedy. But you can't get picked off, dude. What are you doing? So he gets picked off. Then Contreras walks. And then Abreu singled. And which means Duran probably would have scored. Because Abreu singles to deep center. Right? Contreras goes to third. Abreu's on first. Duran was already on first. Could have scored. Terrible. They left 2 guys on in each of the last 2 innings. And they struck off 15 times in the game. That's terrible. Not good. So then they go to Houston on Monday, and Houston's not been a good place for them to play over the last bunch of years either. They've had a lot of problems playing there. They got hammered 8-1. Ranger Suarez, I'm going to start calling him the wrong Suarez from now on, was terrible. 4 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 strikeouts, 76 pitches. The offense was pitiful. 4 hits and 12 strikeouts. Excuse me. Come on, voice. Don't fail me now. I mean, 12 strikeouts again. We're doing this again? Oh, wait, it gets worse. Tuesday, hammered again, 9-2. Brian Bale, 4 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 92 pitches. He got victimized by 2 errors in the 5th inning. Connor Wong made a throw down the second base that got away from Marcelo Maya. Then Maya tried to throw it home, and Bale cut the throw off, and it bounced off his glove. They give the error to Maya, allowed a bunch of runs to score. So they're up 6-1. And then right after that, I forget the guy's first names. This guy Smith came up. He had 2 strikes on him. So he has 2 strikes on him. And everyone, including the ump, Bayo, Wong, Cora, everybody lost track of the count. He swung and missed for strike 3. Nobody picked up on it. He stayed in the game at the plate and drew a walk. But nobody figured out that the guy already had 2 strikes on him. How is that possible? How is it not possible? It wasn't one guy on the whole Red Sox dugout, bench, coaching staff, bullpen, anywhere couldn't figure out that guy already had 2 strikes on him. He actually struck out. You gave that guy extra. You gave him extra pitches to to see and walked him. And then they asked Alex Cora about it after the game, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said, I can't say anything about that. Almost like, I didn't know about it. I don't know what happened. I'm clueless. You know what I mean? And I hate that. Alex Cora is a good manager overall. And again, the offense, terrible. 4 hits, 13 strikeouts. This list looks like last year. Bad. Again. They went through a stretch of this crap last year. 15, 12, 13. Another 13 last night. I mean, this is brutal. Last night they lost 6-4. Unfortunate. They jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the first. Durant singled, and then Yoshida walked, and Wilson Contreras, the new guy, first baseman, singled to knock in Durant. Real good start. But Crochet wasn't sharp. You have your ace on the mound. He wasn't on. Gave up back-to-back doubles in the bottom of the first and tied at 1. And then Trevor Story made an error to put runners on first and third. Crochet gave up a single. Astros go up 2-1. Unearned run there. Again, same problems as the last few years. Bad defense. And then in the bottom of the fifth, Crochet gave up a 3-run homer. So now it's 5-2, and they're not really able to climb out of the hole. Crochet, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, no walks, 7 strikeouts, 93 pitches. I mean, the control seems like part of it was there, but gives up a 3-run homer. That's unfortunate, and you lose that game, and another 13 strikeouts. Willie Abreu homered again, his third already. Roman Anthony was benched before the game. I think it's because the game before that he was 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. He had a pinch hit home run in the top of the ninth. Other than that, nothing to write home about with these guys. I just wonder if because they didn't sign a big 30 home run bopper guy, and we talked about this now over the last couple of years, they still have those stupid drive line guys that deal with the launch angle and the exit velocity and all this other happy horse bleep for the hitters. And I don't recall them doing that during the spring. I don't recall them striking out double digits like this 4 games in a row in the spring. They were playing a lot more small ball. They were playing contact. And I don't know if all of a sudden, Breslow goes down to Alex Cora and says, hey, we need the drive line guys to work with these guys and start doing the launch angle thing, start getting some home runs. You throw away everything the guy works at. The batting coach, whoever the hitting coach is, what is the deal with this? Because it's getting to the point now where I think that guy should be fired. And so should all the drive line idiots. Get them the hell out of here. I think that the problem is you're ruining Alex Cora. Alex Cora is a good manager. I'm almost 100% could hear him at the end of the training camp, exhibition season, whatever. Seems at the time I heard him genuinely excited to get started. And then you go through this crap here, and he's deflated. No pun intended, because the Patriots deflate gate crap. But he just looks flat now. Like, I don't get it. As a team, they're hitting 208. That's terrible. There's 4 teams hitting under 200. One of them is Cincinnati, who took 2 of 3 from you. Go figure. The Red Sox have 67 strikeouts in 6 games, which is 6th most. The Angels have the most at 80 in 7 games. But the Red Sox aren't hitting with the guys in scoring position. I think they're hitting like 150 or something with runners in scoring position. Terrible. 5th worst ERA, 4.91. And if it's any consolation, the White Sox ERA as a team is 8.63. So I guess it's not all bad news, but this is friggin' brutal. Somebody's got to do something somewhere here. This needs to get rectified. I'm sick of seeing this 13, 12, 15 strikeout games every game with these guys. They're better than this. There's no excuse. Their average should be like no more than 6 or 7 a game. Period. Anyway, we're running up against the clock here. let me move on to the poll questions. Let's do the poll questions. Let me find them. Bear with me. Where'd you go? You are. Where'd they get to? All right, here we go. Come on, there, you. Excuse me while I fight the mascot. You, give me that. That's not for you. Sorry, I have cats. They like to play with things they shouldn't play with. All right, back to the poll questions. Okay, the first one we had was who or what is to blame for the Red Sox poor start. We had ownership / management 50%, Alex Cora 50%, offense came in at 0, and pitching came in at 0. So there's a split between upper management and Alex Cora as to who gets the blame. I'm going to lean towards upper management because they keep giving Alex Cora chicken salad and expecting him to make freaking filet mignon out of it. So I'm not going to go on a rant now about that, but that's my 2 cents on it, and I'm sure this will come around again. So we'll revisit later. Now, I asked if we could try something different and fun this season for the Red Sox. Each week, we'd like to have the Red Sox star of the week and the Red Sox bum of the week, right? So the first Red Sox star of the week that we had, the choices were Wilyer Abreu, Connolly Early, and Connor Wong. Wilyer Abreu was the runaway winner with 100%. Early, and Wong got 0. And the first Red Sox bum of the week for 2026, the choices were Greg Wiesert, Ranger Suarez, and Caleb Durbin. Wiesert was the runaway winner with 100%. The other guys got 0. Again, I've railed on this guy before. I don't know why he's still here. He blew the game the other day, gave up a 3-run homer. He blew 9 saves last year. That's way too freaking many. To me, if you're a reliever, you can't have more than 4 over the course of the year. 9 is like obnoxious. That's way too many. So if this continues, I hope they can him. I don't want to see this anymore. I don't care how good he is in some other spurts. His overall numbers were decent last year. I think he had a 2.6 something or whatever ERA. But when you blow those games, like that doesn't matter what the end numbers are. You're costing your team a chance to get some W's. I don't like that. So that was those. Now we'll move on to the weekly predictions. The predictions we had, where's my predictions from last week? Last week I said that James Higgins would make an appearance for the Bruins by the end of the week. Wrong. No appearance. He's still in Providence. Not likely to see any action before the end of the year. We'll see. Maybe in the last game or two, if they have a spot locked up, they will. Caleb Durbin hits his first home run as a Red Sox. Wrong. He did nothing the whole week. I think he was over 18 or something. He's been terrible. That's unfortunate. I did say that Jason Tatum would get his first 30-point game since returning. Ding, ding, ding. Finally get one right. Again, good to see him get on the score sheet that way. Let's see. Predictions for this week. I'll say the Red Sox win more games than they lose. They have to turn this around, or this season's going to be over quick. So they'll have a winning record, I think, this coming week. There's one. I'm going to stick with Durbin getting a home run. He's going to be due. He's not going to be 0 for something for the rest of the time. Let's see. I'll say that Sonny Gray pitches better in his next outing, at least six or 7 innings next outing. He'll have a good outing. I don't know who they're playing yet, but they got to get better pitching. That's part of it too. Can't be just because the hitters have been crapping out. The pitching's been crapping out too. So I'm expecting a better game from him. So we'll stop there. We'll call it. That's it for the show. I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support. Thanks for voting in the polls. And thanks for the commentary. And be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel. And we'll see you back here next week.